Uniswap version 3 was just announced a few weeks ago, and as someone who spent thousands on gas fees trading on Uniswap, and as a loyal Uni holder, I'm honestly pumped for the evolution of our favorite pink unicorn DEX. When I first saw the announcement, a ton of questions were swirling around in my mind. Does this mean that other decentralized exchanges are finished? Does this mean that we're one step closer to replacing centralized exchanges like Coinbase or Binance? What does this mean for the future value of our Uni tokens? And most importantly, what does this mean for us traders who use Uniswap to buy tokens? I couldn't wait much longer. I had to dive in, and in this video, I'll share with you everything I found, from what they changed, pros and cons for each one, why I'm pumped as a token holder, and also some juicy controversies surrounding one of their key changes. So whether you're an investor considering buying Uni, or a crypto trader who trades on these DEXs, then this video is for you. Strap in, my friend, because it's time for the deep dive. Hey folks, I'm Kevin from BFB, and in this channel, we're all about that deep research and honest opinions to help you get that long-term edge in the crypto space. While you watch this video, if you like what you see, please smash that like button because that one quick click would help me out immensely. Alright, so before we dive into version 3, we've got to better understand how things evolved from V1 to V2. Uniswap V1 launched in late 2018 and was one of the first automated market maker type decentralized exchanges out there. What this means is that they don't have an order book like on Coinbase where you place orders in order to trade. Instead, we have liquidity pools for each token pair, like ETH and Link, for example. And you can use those pools to swap one token for the other, with the price controlled by a simple formula. Uniswap V2 came in mid-2020 and it lets you swap token for token directly. So you could swap Compound for Maker, for example, without having to trade for Ethereum first. Because in V1, you could only swap between ETH and a token. V2 also added some other features like price oracles and flash swaps. Just 1 year later, V3 is about to launch with some major upgrades. This takes them one step closer to the ultimate goal of offering a trading experience as smooth as a centralized exchange, but with true decentralization underneath. Now, if I dove into the nitty-gritty of all the new features, that bore the crap out of you because they mainly improve things for liquidity providers. But that does affect you greatly though, because liquidity providers, or LPs for short, are what lets us trade on Uniswap in the first place. They deposit pairs of tokens into different pools, and in exchange, they get a cut of the fees generated by that pool. So if Uniswap is better for LPs, that means we'll have more LPs, and that means more liquidity, which means less slippage. That's just a fancy way of saying we get better prices when trading. And that means more people will use Uniswap, the platform will earn more money in fees, and maybe some of that value will flow to the Uni token too. You kind of see how these changes impact us all? Uniswap V3 includes 7 distinct changes, but many of them boil down to more choices and more flexibility. For example, V3 offers liquidity providers the ability to use concentrated liquidity. Instead of spreading out their tokens throughout the entire price curve, they can squeeze all of their liquidity into a smaller price range and earn as much fees as someone who puts in way more tokens but is spread much thinner. This makes a ton of sense for stablecoins like a DAI and USDC pool, where you don't expect their prices to stray too far. But it also works with other pools like an ETH and DAI pool. For example, if you're an LP, you can set that your tokens are only for trading between the $2,000 and $2,500 price range for ETH. The math works out so that if you put in $100,000 worth of ETH and DAI into that pool, you can earn as much money in fees as someone who puts in around $20 million worth of ETH and DAI, but theirs is spread out. So your capital is 20x more powerful this way. There is a trade-off though. If the price goes outside of the range that you set, you're no longer earning fees, and your 2 tokens are converted to the lesser value one. So back to the previous example, if ETH goes above $2,500, your liquidity position is now completely in the DAI stablecoin. That's not good because ETH continues to appreciate, but you're in stablecoins until you update your range. So that's kind of what I mean by choices, because as an LP, you can choose a super wide range and not worry about the price going outside of it, or you can set multiple ranges, or you can choose a very narrow range and get a lot of bang for your buck, but also risk the situation I mentioned earlier. Now, this is really neat because now you can use what I just mentioned to set pseudo limit orders, which we don't really have on current decentralized exchanges, but we use them all the time on centralized ones, right? Uniswap calls them range orders, and instead of depositing 2 tokens like a normal LP does, you just deposit 1 token, and you can choose whatever price range you want to swap that token for as long as it's above the current price. So if and when trading for that pair goes into your range, you start earning swap fees, and when it goes past your range, just like before, your tokens will now be completely swapped for the other pair in that pool. So in effect, you've just completed a limit order. Here's an example with numbers to make things more clear. Let's say you want to sell some ETH for DAI stablecoin. ETH is currently at $2,000 and you set your range to be from $2,100 to $2,200. So you deposit ETH and wait. Other traders want to buy more ETH, so they swap DAI for ETH and the price increases along that standard formula. When the price hits $2,100, your ETH starts to be used for swapping purposes too. And all the way until $2,200, you'll be earning a cut of the fees. And when the price finally goes past $2,200, you'll have all the DAI that you sold your ETH for, plus the fees you've earned. This is a great deal. If you're excited about these new features, you gotta go check out Rubic, also our sponsors for this video. They are a full circle decentralized trading platform that connects the Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and Polygon networks. They offer instant trades, order book trades, just like those limit orders I was talking about, and cross-chain swaps between Ethereum and BSC tokens. Super simple to traverse the entire DeFi universe, hopping from one network to the other, making trades along the way, all from one easy-to-use interface. They also have their RBC token, which has really rocketed on Uniswap lately, and a BSC wrapped version called BRBC. If you're a heavy DeFi trader, you should definitely go check them out, try them out, by using my link down below. Did you know that because of this added flexibility, Uniswap v3 now has non-fungible tokens too? This isn't for buying collectibles like CryptoPunks though. No, before Uniswap gave you LP tokens if you deposited liquidity in any pool. Those represented your liquidity position, and when you return those tokens, you can withdraw your original tokens once again. In V1 and V2, things were easy and people's liquidities was for the entire price curve. But now, LPs can set all sorts of ranges, so their LP tokens are no longer interchangeable, because they're not representing the same position even though they're in the same pool. That's why LP tokens in V3s are totally unique and represented by NFTs. One big issue I can see here is that this change is really going to mess up the yield farming ecosystem in the DeFi space, because yield farming lets you stake your LP tokens and earn interest on them. But that assumes that the LP tokens are the same, which used to be the case, but not for V3 since they're now NFTs. So we have to wait and see how this part will play out. In V1 and V2, Uniswap had a flat fee of 0.3% for every trade. But for V3, they want to give options, 0.05%, 0.3%, and even 1% with more tiers that could be added through governance. The idea is for pools with correlated tokens, like your stablecoin pools, to have the lowest fees, and common but non-correlated tokens like ETH and DAI pool to have your middle standard fee, and your exotic pools of non-correlated tokens like Yearn and Band, for example, to have the highest fees. This fee flexibility is actually great for us traders though, because if LPs can earn higher fees for supplying liquidity to the more exotic trading peers, that means that we can trade tokens like Yearn for Band directly without having to go through a lot of those intermediate trades, which would end up costing us a lot more in the end. V3 also improves their price oracles, which doesn't affect us that much, but it does make it better for other DeFi projects to get accurate token prices from Uniswap. And this info is absolutely critical for them to properly operate. So those other DeFi projects are all saying, thank you, Uniswap. The last change is where the huge controversy is, because they added a license in order to use their code. Remember, in the blockchain world, anyone can see and copy another project's code because it's all on the public ledger after all. That's why so many projects are copies of each other. It literally takes a second to fork the code. But Uniswap's team decided to add a business license, so you have to pay them for the right to use it. Their license only lasts for 2 years though, and afterwards, it's completely free. Many people were still unhappy about this because this goes against the fully open, do what you want ethos of crypto. After all, the only way to enforce this is to sue anybody who infringes upon it, and We haven't really seen that happen too often in the crypto world. I can kind of understand why they did this though. They spent so much time and effort creating the best DEX protocol out there, and Uniswap comes along, copies them in a day, and steals a lot of their liquidity too. So Uniswap is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they just want a way to capture most of the value from their own invention. Alright guys, this whole time I haven't mentioned the elephant in the room. Gas fees, because we have been paying an arm and a leg in gas fees in order to trade on Uniswap. I have bad news though. V3's changes only lowers gas fees a tiny bit, but we do have some hope though. They're planning to deploy V3 on both the main Ethereum network and a new layer 2 network called Optimism. Optimism will have super fast transactions and super cheap gas fees, like a few cents. The only issue though is that Uniswap is going to be the first big DeFi project on Optimism, and other projects need to join as well for us end users to get the full benefits. So that's something to keep our eyes on, whether Optimism works smoothly and whether other DeFi projects join the party over there. I do want to point out that some DEXs deploy on other blockchains like Binance Smart Chain or Polkadot, but Uniswap is loyal to Ethereum. They are ETH first and ETH all the way based on their choice to deploy only on Ethereum and Optimism, which by the way is also Ethereum based. As a Uni token holder, I'm super excited about all of this because Uniswap is already the gold standard in terms of decentralized exchanges, and it's about to get a whole lot more powerful. With some of its new features, it's going to make other DEXs like Curve irrelevant. I predict that eventually we'll get to the point where everyone just uses Uniswap and many of its competitors fade away into obscurity. And if one day Uni holders vote to turn on protocol fees, which would give us token holders a cut of the generated fees, it would be game over. Uni would head to the literal moon because then you could get passive income by just holding it. That's my personal prediction and opinion after all. What do you think though? Are you excited for V3 to come out? Are you as bullish as I am about it? Let me know down in the comments below. And next up, I have a lighthearted video about Doge and then a video about why you should not margin trade Bitcoin. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to catch the future ones. I'm Kevin from BFB. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Cheers.